What is up, everyone? Thanks for joining the Tim and Ray's Tuesday call. I'm Ray. Where's Tim? Tim's somewhere in the world. He may be joining us a little bit later. Rafe, is he joining us today? I thought he was going to try to pop on. He is? Okay, good, good. So Tim will be here in a little bit. But I wanted to go ahead and get this call started for total selfish reasons because I have tons of questions. So Chris Speicher is our guest. Did I say your last name correct, by the way? Okay.
You got it right. I'm glad we got it the first time too. Good
Beautiful.
job.
Okay. Rafe helped me a little bit. So Chris Speicher is joining us today. And Chris knows a thing or two about real estate, even though like he just was telling us in the pre-call, he hasn't really done real estate in like 8 years.
That is correct.
So some people are like, wait, what? So Chris runs a little team. He's got one in DC, one in Maryland, one in Hawaii, one in where else? What am I missing?
Maryland, DC, Virginia, Delaware, and Maui. Yeah, you're right.
Virginia, Delaware, and Maui. So this is a really cool call for me to get to visit with Chris about because, this is what I want to do. And first, can you tell people, how long you've been in the business and really where you kind of got to start, and then we'll jump into some of the specifics.
Yeah, sure. Totally. So first I've got, coming from Hawaii to Maryland, which is where I am now in my hotel room, the pollen and the allergies have kicked in. So I apologize in advance. I'm stuffy. I'm going to cough. So get that out of the way. I'll give you kind of the Reader's Digest version. I was in the high-tech industry. I worked for Microsoft for about 10 years. And the travel became too much. Raising a kid, it was kind of out of control. I had North America, South and Central America, and Western Europe as my territory. So I was never home. So my wife is in real estate. She's now celebrating her 32nd year in the business.
Nice.
I left Microsoft. I gave a buddy of mine about a year to start a pharmaceutical company as his kind of marketing guy. But what got me into the business is one morning I was walking out the door and my wife said something to me that still sticks with me today. She said, you will always do well, but you will never be wealthy working for somebody else. So that bomb sat there for more than a year. And at the end of my first year with that pharmaceutical company, I resigned and started with my wife. That was about 12 or 13-ish years ago. Got into the business. It was just the two of us at first. Got into the business and I said, well, if we're going to do this and we really want to make a lot of money, we've got to do this whole team thing. And teams were brand new. About 12 or 13 years ago, there weren't really concepts of teams. There weren't concepts of ISAs. We call them our customer experience team. But I knew that I didn't want to answer the phone. And I knew that if I was going to get her busy, she wasn't going to have time to answer the phone.
So basically the team was born out of a necessity for you. There's jobs in real estate that you don't want to do.
Exactly right. And Tom Ferry has always been he's always said something that stuck with me. He said, if you don't hire an assistant, you are one. And I kind of take that into everything in the business, which is I do not want to talk to clients. I do not want to answer the phone. I do not want to be on call, while those phones are ringing. So we started the ISA model probably 12 or 13 years ago. Fast forward, I'll skip through all the stuff. We are now 9 weeks with Real. We run the company from Maui. We've run the company from Maui now for about 5.5 years. So our main team that is with Real is based in Montgomery County, Maryland. So kind of Gaithersburg, Maryland is where I am right now. We have about 22, 23 agents. We've got 2 people who answer the phone full time. We've got a full-time transaction person on the back end. I've got a marketing person who is on retainer that does all the marketing and social media for the team. We'll do, with just that team, we will do 200 million this year, maybe, probably 300 to 400 units. Then we've got a team at the beach here. And I want to be crystal clear too. My team at the beach, so the Maryland and Delaware beaches, is actually not with Real, and my team in Maui is not with Real. And we have very, very specific reasons why. Will that change in the future? Probably. But we've got a team at the beach that operates in the Maryland and Delaware beaches, and then the team in Maui, we operate West Maui. almost exclusively. So Lahaina, Kanapali, Kapalua. And we're actually with Caldwell Banker out there. My wife and I are also managing directors for all of West Maui for Caldwell Banker, which is always a fun conversation to have. Like, why?
That's cool.
Come on.
You know those shirts, like the divided household shirts for the SEC
Right.
football. You gotta,
Yeah. I mean,
cool.
listen, we came over to Real because Sharon's one of my best friends. We have been business partners and investors together, and he has been a mentor of mine for more than a decade. And when I look at, here's what I said to the team is, listen, you guys focus on your pipelines, right? You focus on the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Some of you might focus on the next 6 months, but it's rare. What my job is to focus on the next 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years.
Yeah.
And where can we best position the company to generate wealth and financial security for everyone on the team during this next real estate run. So it was a no-brainer.
That's interesting, your perspective on what's happening in the market too, because you're calling it a next real estate run when a lot of people are saying it's crashing, we're all going to die. So,
it's funny you say that. One of the things that I preach to the team, and I preached to the team since day one, don't look at the news. Any news.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're watching Fox or CNN or MSNBC or CNBC, or it doesn't matter to me. Stop watching the news, because people will always need to move. And it's our job to be there when they're ready to move. I don't care what interest rates are. I don't care what housing prices look like. It is not relevant to the people who have to transact. So there is no sky is falling, chicken little, what's going on. Yes, you need to be informed. You need to be educated. But you need to be writing contracts and showing homes is what you need.
There's a old agent once told me there's no problem in real estate that 25 transactions or 25 contacts a day can't solve. Amen. No problem in real estate. Well, 25 transactions a day can't solve. Well, I want to get into the very beginning of the team. It was just you and your wife, right? And y'all both kind of started at the same time. She was ahead of you, and then you kind of joined her, I guess, right? Yeah. So when you started your team, you said you started with ISAs. What were the other positions that kind of surrounded that you started with?
So we started with buyer's agent. That was actually our first. Second was admin. And then third was ISA. So we grew super quickly and super fast. My very first buyer's agent, and kind of we'll get into this when we start talking about running teams in multiple markets and culture, which I think people throw around that word a lot and it frustrates me. But when we hired our first buyer's agent, she sold 50 units her first year, and I fired her on her 1-year anniversary because she no longer fit our culture.
Wow.
Which is a difficult decision financially, but a super easy decision culturally. So we went buyer's agent, admin. Admin is actually still with us. She's been with us 13 years. And then it was ISA. I realized very quickly that my agents were on the road all day. And if my agents weren't face-to-face with people, we weren't making money. And I didn't want them to have to take the time to remove themselves from talking to people to answer the phone. And I also believe very strongly that, and maybe this won't be a popular opinion, but everybody talks about, hey, your buyer's agents need to follow up, your buyer's agents need to nurture, your buyer's agents need to do this, they need to do, how many past to-dos do they have and how many times are they reaching out? I'm a firm believer that I want my agents focusing on the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I don't want to be doing 25 calls a day to people who aren't ready to transact. So the way we structured the team is, if this person isn't ready to transact in the next 90 days or 6 months, you kick them back to my customer experience team. So the people who are on the phone all day and in front of the computer can do the nurturing, can do the follow-up. And then when they're ready, we'll kick them back to the agent. Because again, if you're not out showing homes and writing contracts, you're not making money.
That's such a great point. We've gone through the ninja selling and the book club, shameless plug for my book club that meets on Thursday at 1 Central. Anyway, we just got to the end part where he's talking about database management and focusing on the hot list and the warm list. And then we created what's called a cold list, where you put your sphere who just closed on a home or something like that. You put your personal connections, but if you don't have a personal connection with them, you just kick them back to the lead pond. Yep. And then, we're going to start marketing to them as the team. And then as they warm back up, then we'll put them back on your hot or warm list. But that's such a great piece of advice that I only just changed this week.
Yeah. I mean, literally the goal and the concept is everybody needs to be working closest to the money. And
Yeah.
closest to the money for my agents is not nurturing somebody who's going to be transacting, next spring. I can't pay a bill with somebody
Yeah.
who's going to transact next spring.
So how did you know that your team had escalated to the point where it was time for you to expand? What was the thing where you're like, oh, we should do this somewhere else?
Great question. The first expansion was to Ocean City, Maryland. So the Maryland and Delaware beaches are the vacation market for the greater Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, and for, to some extent, Baltimore, New York. The truth of the matter is I had a vacation place there, and I spent a lot of time there. And one of my best friends owns a bar there, and his wife is a real estate agent. And she needed business. She was struggling a little bit. So I said, well, hey, I can do this here. I'm all about finding people I can trust, and finding people who I trust with my brand and know that, won't go sideways on me. So when she said, yeah, let's do it, that's when I expanded there. And it was a no-brainer. And to also put this in perspective, and this might not be, kosher for some people, but don't care. We are a big Zillow shop. We are number one in the entire greater Washington, D.C. area for Zillow conversions. I was on the advisory board for 11 years. I just resigned in January. So we're a big Zillow shop. So for me to generate leads into the markets that I wanted to go in was a no-brainer.
So you used the tool you used to open in other markets was a person you trusted and a lead generation model that you knew would work.
Yep. And then we put the rest of the model in place. So lead conversion and culture and all that kind of good stuff. But I truly believe at the end of the day, what people are looking for is culture and leads. And for me, I need to find somebody that I can trust. And hopefully somebody I already have a relationship with to move into a new market. So we moved down there, did that. And then that's still going great. They're doing their thing. And then when we were with Long and Foster here in Maryland, their affiliation was with Christie's at the time. So, the Christie's and the Forbes affiliation and all that kind of good stuff. So at that time, met a husband and wife team that was on Maui. We were hosting a conference here in DC for Christie's. Met a husband and wife team on Maui, and they said, we're always looking for good agents. Like, love Hawaii. I've always loved Hawaii. Hire in Hawaii, and they were like, well, why don't you come take a look? So fast forward, we worked with Real Trends, Steve Murray over at Real Trends, to put a valuation on the team. We had a very nice offer on the table to sell the company. But just like letting our first buyer's agents go, it wasn't the right cultural fit for the team. What I knew that is if I sold, I could kind of ride off into the sunset, be very happy, but the team would not. The team would implode. So met with the team, said, hey, what we preach to you guys all the time is following your goals and following your dreams and achieving your goals. Hawaii is it, right? That's the thing. So we want you to continue to carry the torch. We're going to expand the team. We're going to grow the operation, be there for you all the time. And we moved 5.5 years ago. And the team has only grown exponentially since then. And then we formed another team in Hawaii because it was very easy to go in there. And Hawaii is everybody says, right, my market's different. I don't believe that any market's different, but Hawaii is different. It's a whole different world out there. And there are 1,000 things I can do, but they just don't answer the phone. They're surfing or they're paddleboarding or whatever they're doing. So just answering the phone, we skyrocketed out there. So that's where we are now with the 3 teams across 4 states and DC.
That's like Arkansas in the fall. Yeah, I mean, good luck getting a contractor. Good luck getting, because they're either deer hunting or camping or they're gone.
Totally. Which, hey, I respect. Don't answer the phone. I'm good with it.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so there's a good question that someone DM'd me. They said, ask Chris why he decided to go wider and not deeper where he already was.
Great question. So we are, and I'm kind of struggling with this right now a little bit. We're very, very big on, I've already said it, culture and the people that we choose to surround ourselves with. So our interview process, for example, it's 5 rounds of interviews. It starts with me. I can usually tell you in 60 seconds whether we're going to continue the phone call or not. My job is to make sure that you're articulate, you're intelligent, you can hold a conversation. And then what I do is I actually hand it off to my director of customer experience, my director of kind of the transaction, so contract to close, my director of agent services, and then one of my agents who I feel like has a similar personality type. They all meet. And then I need a yes from all three of them before you actually get a call with my wife. And my wife will go deep into what's your why, what's your mindset, what does it take to be successful in this business from headspace, not from contracts and not from all that kind of stuff, but really in your own head, what is it going to take to be successful? But if one of my agents or my customer experience person says, I don't think they're a good fit, we cut it off. Nice. They have as much say as I do in the process. So we modeled that after Tony Hsieh when he was around and ran Zappos, is when they would bring in their executives, they would interview the van driver that brought them from the airport or the limo driver from the airport to the company. Yeah. And if the person was rude or disrespectful, they stopped the interview process. And we feel the same way. So it's very difficult for me to find people to join the team. We do background checks, we do credit checks. If there is a significant other involved, we try to go out to a happy hour or a dinner or a lunch with that significant other to see how they interact with each other, because that will eventually make it into the office. And I have had very difficult conversations with people and then pissed off spouses when I did not make them job offers because of how they treated each other.
Wow.
But that's critical to us, because I look at myself, let's take real estate out of it. I look at myself as a protector of the culture and a protector of the brand. And my people are the culture and the brand. And I can tell you without question that every single person on my team right now, I would give a key to my house in Hawaii if I wasn't there. And that's what's most important to me. The rest of it I can teach. Listen, real estate is a people game, and it's a fill in the blank contract game. Yes, we can talk about negotiation tactics and what levers to pull, and I get it, but I can teach that. What I can't teach is everything else. What's your why? How motivated are you? How hard are you going to work? Are people going to trust you? Are people going to like you? So it's not easy for me to go deep, because I haven't found the people to fill the places on the team where I need it from a cultural perspective.
So I guess high standards and plenty of available market share. It's just,
and super high standards. It's extremely difficult to get onto the team because I just don't. And we are, sometimes it's tough to keep well, I take that back. We have a stellar retention rate, but what we never tolerate is, anybody who thinks they are superior or not equal to anybody else on the team. And sometimes I've had more senior agents on the team are like, hey, I've been here, 6 years, 7 years. These new people on the team are getting more deals than I am, or they're closing more transactions. I think I should get higher price leads, or I think I should get first dibs. And I'll show you the door. Appreciate you being a part of the team for the last 6 years, but you're out. So it's tough to get onto the team, and I like it that way.
Yeah. Hard to get on, easy to get kicked off.
but the core team that gets it loves it. We practice extreme transparency. Everyone's on the same splits. Everybody gets the same opportunities. Everybody sees everybody's transaction count and volume. We are a complete open book with our team.
Love that.
We have no secrets. And that, if you guys want to behind the scenes, if you guys want to talk splits, please talk splits. You're all in the same splits. I have no problem with talking about it.
Yeah. It makes it super easy. Yeah. So whenever you talked about the interview process and there were 2 directors that you had, where are they located? Do you have where each team is a director, or do you have like a HQ, or are they just kind of spread around?
So one is in Delaware. She's actually in Europe right now for a month, but one is in Delaware. She is the whole kind of front of house, right? So she is Boomtown CRM, scripts, dialogue, going through and handing off the leads and qualifications and all that kind of good stuff. Mm-hmm. So she is all things front. And then I've got a director of agent services, which is contract to close. And she's here. But she's remote. She's got 4 kids under 18. So she's, Lord knows where she is. At any time. So the team here is structured like that. In Hawaii, there's just not enough volume to justify that. we do, I take that, let me rephrase that. There's not enough velocity to justify
Okay.
that. Just, I mean, we sell crazy high priced homes, but we just don't sell a lot of them.
Right.
You know, when I get the hot sheet in the morning of new listings in West Maui, there might be like 2. So it's not like I need an entire team around that. And my Delaware and Maryland group, they're down at the beaches. They're on their own too, because just the velocity down there is not that high. So that group is here. And they only take care of the Maryland team, the team based in Bethesda, Gaithersburg.
Okay. And your Hawaii agents, I guess, use transaction coordinators that are central to you.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a transaction coordinator on the Big Island that I stole from a competitor. So she is my TC, brought her over. So she does all of our TC work for Maui.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you guys have questions, I've gotten a couple of texts. You guys can just raise your hand and ask the question.
Oh yeah, jump in.
Right.
I mean, my transparency is with everything. I won't hold back.
That's cool. So what are your, do you intend, it sounds like you chose places that you wanted to live. That's where you expanded, or places that you enjoyed going to. And so there was not very much, well, I'm saying this kindly, but there's not very much strategy behind that expansion other than the personal strategy of this is good for me and my family. Right.
Correct. I don't want to say I wouldn't expand into markets that were new to me or markets that gave me opportunities, because I probably would, but it's just never fit into my business model. If I don't want to go hang out in a certain location, I probably don't want to build a team there. But like I said, if opportunities presented itself, I would think about it, but it's based on what I love to do, where I love to go, and the people that are there that I trust. And that's been the expansion opportunity. We're going much deeper now here in Maryland, just because the opportunities have presented itself recently that I need to expand the team here, which is going to be a challenge because of what I just said about the interview process. But I've literally said no to like 4 people in the past week, which is just, it's killing me a little bit, but it's the right thing to do. So yeah, the expansion is all about what makes me happy. And what's good for me and my brand and my people and my team and my life.
Well, how do you find people, or maybe that's not the right question. How do you identify the people who are willing to work on your team with you not being there? Because it's different than having a team leader that's local, that has all these local connections and, has been in the business years there locally. And then you enter into a market and you have someone that's willing to remain on your team instead of launching their own team, following your exact model, and they're local.
Yeah, great question. It's because of the culture that my team here has. They get together. One of the things we do is I pay for them to get together once a month. So they do team outings and team events, whether it's they go clean up a park, or they do axe throwing, or they do the duck rides, or they just do happy hours. So we're very big on keeping our people close. But I think the key is, and I just had this conversation yesterday with a team that I'm talking to about coming over, is it's all about the value that you can provide to the agents. And without providing that massive value, whether you're here or not, you're never going to be able to recruit. So,
that's good.
We do the leads. We have the people who answer the phones. We've got the transaction management. We've got the marketing. I do a tuition reimbursement program every year for people who want to become better in sales. They've got free access to Boomtown. Like, we provide so much value, and we do a mentorship program. We've got a Slack channel where everybody asks a question. So we've got this huge searchable database of all these questions. Like I said, you're assigned a mentor to kind of get into the business. So if I can continue to provide all that value, and the people on the ground embrace the culture and are protective of the culture and want to grow the brand like I do, and at the end of the day want to be wildly successful but not have all the expenses and the overhead and the systems, I win. And that's what we've done is, I provide, at the end of the day, I provide everything you need to be successful without any expense other than splitting the commission with me. You don't need to pay for Boomtown. You don't need to pay for leads except through the commission split. You don't need to pay for anything that's on the team. I have no monthly fees or expenses or anything like that. So just go out, and sell a lot of homes. My number one agent this year will probably sell 60 to 75 units here. And he's happy as a clam.
That's good. So what if, from the team leader's perspective, or from people that are thinking about doing this, one of the things that is often overlooked that you just mentioned a lot of are the expenses that team leaders take on. Have you done have you calculated what your margin is, from all your, do you mind if I ask what that is?
No, I generally operate at a 30% profit margin. I mean, listen, I got Boomtown, we got Zillow. We do a lot at my height with Zillow. We were spending $400,000 or $500,000 a year on Zillow. But listen, it's all a numbers game, right? If I spend 4 and can make $1 million, if I can spend 4 and make 3 million, like whatever, that 4 can be $1 million. It doesn't matter to me. So we keep a close eye on it. We have every now and then have to make some strategic decisions, and I think this is also one of the reasons that the team stays with us. Like when we move from the traditional Zillow model, market-based pricing, where you had to pay for leads, to the Zillow Flex model, where I've got to pay a referral fee, to make sure that the team was comfortable, and make sure that the team understood how the process worked, and get them used to all the accountability that they were going to be subject to. Like, I absorbed the entire referral fee. I kept them whole. So I took a hit for 3 years in order to make sure that they were happy and they were whole, and that they get used to everything. Will that change if they're on the call? Probably. It's going to change, but it's no secret. I will also probably pull another lever to give them more, maybe for past clients in Sphere or something like that. But I keep a close eye on expenses. I keep a close eye on what we're spending. And I'm always an open book with the team. Like, hey, here's what this costs, and here's what the commission breakdown looks like. So when you take X% or I take Y%, here's what comes out of my Y%. And if you were to do, sometimes we do it as a team, like, hey, if you were to do this on your own and go out and get a Boomtown platform and go out and pay for leads and pay for a transaction manager and take 50 or 60% out of your commissions for the year. And they're like, whoa. I'm like,
and you have to deal with the headache of managing all of it.
Correct. So, we're transparent when it comes to that stuff too. I don't believe that there should be any secrets. My commission splits are an open book. My, our expenses are generally an open book. And, if we get a new lead generation platform and we go through, like, hey, when a lead comes in and it converts, here's what the cost per lead looks like for me, and here's how we're going to structure the program, and here's what the commission splits are going to look like. And they all go, that makes sense. So I hope that answered the question. Yeah,
no, that's great. I keep having questions. You guys raise your hand or you're not going to get in edgewise, because I could talk to Chris all day long, and I will. So whenever you were starting to expand and grow the team, did you feel any margin compression as you were going through, or was it always kind of about the same?
It was always about the same.
Okay.
Were there times that I had to make a strategic decision to either get somebody onto the team or add a new platform, and I knew that until commissions started rolling in, there might be a little bit of pain? Sure. But for all intents and purposes, everything remained the same, because I'm not willing to lose money just because I want to expand, or just because I want to get more people onto the team. I think that so often, and this has been a big thing of mine for a long time. It might be why I'm not invited to some conferences anymore. I believe that in order to get onto the stage of any of these big conferences, you should have to show your tax returns to the conference people. Show me what you made. Don't talk to me about your GCI. Don't talk to me about your velocity. Don't talk to me about, how many people you have on the team or how many markets you're in. Show me how much money you took home, because that's the only thing that matters to me. I was actually at a conference that I got up and walked out of, when one of the speakers that, had all this praise, and everybody's like, oh my God, so-and-so speaking, it's amazing. And he said something that just, what it said to me was, the guy didn't have $50,000 to his name. And I'm like, God, this is ridiculous. Whatever he's sharing, I don't want any of it. So yeah, I mean, every now and then got to take a little bit of a hit to continue the growth. But at the end of the day, no, my money's important to me.
That's good. And what were your, if you could tell yourself now if you could tell yourself back when you were starting the team, if you could give
Sure.
yourself some advice,
Wow.
what would you tell yourself going into this now that you know what you know?
Wow. That's a great good. The biggest one would have been join real much earlier on.
Yeah, get that dollar stock.
Right? That's what I'm talking about. Looking back, I probably would have been a little bit more stringent with the interview process early on. We didn't put all these controls into place, it was like after 2 or 3 years that we were running the team, that we did like everybody. We had the snafus and the people that just didn't work out. And we probably would have been a little more strict with our hiring process. I actually probably would have gone bigger with Zillow. Instead of spending the $400,000 or $500,000 a year, why shouldn't I have spent $3 million a year? If my ROI could remain the same, I should have gone bigger. But that requires people, and that was the big challenge. But people ask me, it's a good question, because people say, well, are there any regrets with changing brokerages and going to real? Is there anything you would have done different? Like, even starting the team, there's not much I would have done different, because we were kind of the first to the market with the whole ISA model. We were one of the first to the markets to really expand the teams. I don't think I would have done anything different. And that's a wonderful thing. Like I said, probably would have put those hiring processes and guardrails in place a little bit sooner, but that's probably it. Yeah.
That's good. You've talked about culture a couple of times. If you had to define your culture for your team, what would you say?
Ooh, define culture for the team.
Yeah. No, don't give me the definition of culture. Define your culture.
I don't know what the definition of culture is.
Who knows?
My culture is, we're family. We live and breathe. So Mark Davison at 1000 Watt actually has done our brand twice. And the most recent iteration of the brand, we did a deep dive with him in the branding, and what came out of it, although a little bit frustrating because I wanted a public facing brand, what came out of it was his comment, like, dude, you are 100% about your agents. It'd be very difficult for me to talk about this, to the public. So our brand is, and our all of our core values are online. It's be vulnerable, fiercely protect your peers. Our culture is being fiercely protective of our people. I can tell you that the last time I actually spoke with an agent, that agent was being rude and disrespectful and downright mean to one of my agents. And I got on the phone, and unfortunately, I completely lost it on this guy. I mean, unprofessional, lost it, because he made one of my agents cry. And for me, gloves come off. Can we cuss on here?
I don't care. Yeah, sure.
You know what? Do not fuck with my agents. I will rain hell down on you. And I did. Thank God we got the deal closed. With another agent, we broke that contract. We got a better deal closed.
Nice.
But that's our culture, is fiercely protective of the people that are on our team. And we cherish and respect and encourage time off. Like, get away from this business. Walk away. Like I said, my director of customer success is in Europe for a month. So I'm like, go. And she's like, well, do I need to be on the interviews? And do you want me to do this? And should I try to take calls? I'm like, what, are you nuts? No, go enjoy your time. So that's kind of our definition of the culture, and how we treat our I think it's about how you treat your people. And that's our culture, because we believe that by me fiercely protecting our people and giving them all the tools that they need to be successful, they will in turn take care of the client. So I do not focus I don't want to say any time, but for all intents and purposes, I do not focus any time on the clients. I focus strictly on my team, and I think by default, take care of the clients.
That's good. And you mentioned earlier, you don't have to tell us the exact situation in case it gets back around, but what was the reason that led you to firing your top producing first buyer agent?
She believed that because of how many deals that she had closed, that she deserved preferential treatment over one or two of the other buyer's agents we brought on. And more importantly, decided that our admin staff was just that, was just staff, that she could speak to them in a different manner than the rest of us, that they were not treated like business partners. And the kicker was she felt that way also about the team leads, that she was closing so much business and that she was making us so much money that she was better than everybody else. So that's
pretty toxic.
All of those are last straws for me.
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to come back from one of those, much less all of them.
and it all happened in a very short period of time, kind of around that 1 year mark. I've been here a year. Here's what I want. Here's what I, expect. I'm like, cool. Good luck. You can expect all that, just not with me.
That's good. Tim asked a question. Tim, start your video. Tim Regan. He said, talk about how the customer journey changed over time as you've added markets. What are some things your team does to help the clients coming back and referring you/your team? Yeah, I guess it's too good. So let's talk about the customer journey as it's changed in the various markets. How do you manage that?
I don't think that the customer journey has changed that much. I've been in the business, 12, 13 years, something like that. I think it's the same. It's not rocket science. From the time you speak to a client to the time you close, you're showing homes, you're writing contracts, you're negotiating deals, then you're in, inspection periods, and then financing, and, pray to God that the lender and the underwriter doesn't screw anything up, and then the appraiser, and then you close, right? I mean, it's the same. Nothing has changed. Companies have tried to change it. Companies have tried to make it more streamlined. Companies have tried to make it easier, but I think the journey from the customer perspective is exactly the same. I believe that each of my agents takes great care of the clients, and that's what keeps them coming back. One of the benefits that we offer to the team is SGDM, which is Speicher Group Direct Mail. So at the end of the transaction, your client goes into a direct mail campaign that you pay for, but I do all the mailings for them, and we keep in touch. And I expect that my agents follow up. Now, here's the deal: do I have agents that don't follow up after the transaction? Sure. Do I fault them for that? No. Is it frustrating when they go transact with somebody else? Of course. But this might not be popular belief either. I also believe that each agent has different goals and different ways of dealing with clients. And, I've got agents on the team that are fine closing 12 or 15 deals a year. I've got agents that just want to hang their license with me for referrals. I've got agents who I said, close 60, 70 units in a year. And I think what differentiates us a little bit is, and it's in the opening of our, kind of our story and our brand, is we help each agent achieve what is their definition of success. So you don't need to come onto my team and close 60 units. If you tell me that your goal is 12, awesome. I'm going to help you close 12 deals. If you say it's 30, we'll create a path to close 30. If you want to get your business from 80% Zillow because you're a brand new agent to 50-50 past clients and Sphere, great. We can't do that year one, but we can work on that and get you there. So it's up to each agent what they want to do. I don't believe that Speicher Group owns a lead. I don't believe that Speicher Group owns a client. I don't believe an agent owns a client. Can they do things to make sure that they come back or hope that they come back? Of course. But the customer journey hasn't changed, and I leave it up to my agents to do that.
That's good. Okay, I'm going to lay off asking questions. It's up to you guys on the call now. And Shay, is that an Airstream behind you? Are you camping right now? And on a call? Wow, impressive. I like the Airstream. It looks like a nice, cool morning wherever you are. Okay, guys, ask questions. Heather, you got a question? Shauna, you have 2 teams in 2 different places. Ask a question.
Somebody, anyone.
I've dominated the conversation. I'm really trying not to. Okay. Kamal, she asked, how much split buyers, what's the buyer's agent split and how do you pay the ISA?
So nobody on my team, not one person is on a salary. I have no W-2 employees. Every single person on my team gets paid at closing. It ensures that everybody has a vested interest in making sure that good leads are handed off, that they close the deals, and that contract to close is very successful and seamless. So my ISAs get 10% of any of the deals that they bring in and qualify and touch and hand off. And then what was the other question?
Just how do you pay the splits for the buyers?
So splits on the agents, it depends. It depends on where the lead comes from. So at the end of the day, it depends on if I have out-of-pocket expense or not. So if it is if it's their primary residence or one of their investment properties, I take nothing. It's 100% goes to them. If it is a lead that I need to pay a referral fee on, it's 70-30 to them. If it is a lead that I needed to come out of pocket for, it's 50-50. If it is their past client in Sphere, it's 70-30. So I generally, unless it's their own property, I don't take less than 30%.
Okay, cool. And the Zillow leads and stuff like that, what, because there's a referral, will be a referral.
So referral comes off the top and then it's 70-30.
Okay. Referrals from other agents around the country, the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Now, I mean, we're looking at maybe changing that a little bit going into next year, but nothing, it'll be nothing huge. We just need to make some adjustments because there's some things coming down that I'm from a financial perspective might need to change a little bit, but I'm never going to do massive changes to the team. I'm never going to implement any changes where the team's like, did I just take a 20% hit on my income? Like, we would never do that. And if we have to do something like that, or when we have to do something like that, we literally sit down with the team and pull out spreadsheets and whiteboards. There is no top-down bullshit on our team. It is, hey, you guys, here's how the money works. Here's how the money flows. And we think it's fair if it flows more like this. What do you think? So yeah, that's how our commissions are structured today.
That's good.
I'm sure I have team members on that are like, wait a minute, it's changing
today.
Yeah. Surprise.
All right. What other questions do you guys have? I've just been drinking up the conversation.
So I see how admins and directors get payments. I'm not so they are not internally, but yeah, internally, everyone's referred to as a business partner. We don't have hierarchy in terms of who reports to who or are their directors. Like, my director of customer experience is because I wanted somebody to just take control of Boomtown and Zillow and scripts and dialogue and role play and handoffs and all that stuff. And then my director of agent services, we expanded her role. She will actually, once you graduate from the mentorship program, she'll actually write all your contracts for you. Because again, if you're on the road going from showing to client, I want you to be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, Kim, I was just with John Smith, 123 Main Street. We're going to write $1 million offer, escalation clause, this, that, write it up, get it out. So we gave her a bigger title, but the director of agent services, or the director of customer experience, so the front end, along with her team, are all the 10% commission based. And then my admin on the back end actually gets a per transaction fee. But I pass that fee along to the client. So I don't actually pay that fee. That's an admin fee that I pass to the client that's on the Alta. And she gets a large chunk of that fee. So she gets paid by real. Okay.
And Shauna, you got your hand up.
Yes, this has been very good. So I actually have tried building a team 3 or 4 times, And I get that I'm probably the problem because one, I just like overgive. I mean, it has to be me, right? If I've done it 3 or 4 times and it's like, and it's went to shit, you know? This last time was probably my most successful bout with it. I went, and mine was all organic. I didn't like, I'm licensed in 2 states, but I run a, like basically a SEAL team now. So it's just me here in Texas. And then I have 1 part-time agent in Arkansas, and I do a lot of production. So I'm pretty much the only producing agent. And I was actually competing with small teams with Real. I actually ranked on the small teams, top 25, even though it's just me. And so that's the thing, is like, I found that the last time I built a team, I lost a lot of money because I was, you know, everyone's preaching teams, teams, teams. And so I built a team on, you know, the advice of my coach at the time, but no one was looking at profitability. So I thought it was interesting you said 30%, but like the mistake that I made was almost all my business comes from referral.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't pay for leads, like I never have. And so for me as a personal agent, that works just fine. But when I had a team, I was giving up all those referrals and I was only getting 75%, or you know, I was getting 50% of 75% because, you know, you have a 25% referral fee. And what I found was nobody was bringing any business in, and it was just me. So I literally took a 250 grand hit in the first quarter of last year. And then and now I'm still making up for that. So like I fired everybody on my team, went back to just having me. So my question is how do you scale what you have done without losing your ass?
Right. So I do, and this is not a plug for me. You know, I do coaching and consulting on the side for large team leaders and brokers and some individual agents. And the first question I always ask when somebody comes to me with this kind of problem is, why the hell do you want to do a team? Like it's hard. I mean, it is really, really hard. And what your mindset really needs to be, in my belief, when you start a team is your focus is on the team. Your focus is not on production. If your focus is on production, don't join a team or don't form a team. You can get maybe showing assistants, maybe, you know, a couple of agents where you can say, hey, anything below this price point, I'm not going to work it anymore. We'll do a split. But they are going to be hungry for leads. They are going to look to you for that leadership. They're going to look to you for the revenue. They're going to look to you for that. And I believe that's the role of a team leader. To do that, it's not like you can just say, hey, come join the team and I want you to continue to generate business and I'll take a piece of it. They're like, what? If I were you, I don't know why I'd do a team. I mean, I might get an assistant or a couple assistants, maybe a showing assistant, maybe a buyer's agent to take something below a certain threshold and call it a day. The teams really need to be about you creating a plan to step out of production and help them grow. You know, kind of my internal, you know, mantra is my agents are more successful with me than without me. And that's why I focus exclusively on the team. And you need to be in a place where, like, if I can have 25 agents go from 10 transactions to 30 transactions, I'm making a lot more money, but you're going to lose money. You know, if you're just giving out those, you know, what would have been your business and then splitting it 50-50. So I think that over the past 10 years, you know, these teams have become sexy. These teams have been the thing to do. These teams have been, you know, oh my God, you need to form a team. I tell you what, one of the person who kind of helped us get into the Hawaii market, who now works with us at Caldwell Banker, last year did $285 million with one assistant. No reason for her to join a team. We talked to her about the whole team concept, and she's like, why the hell would I want a team? I'm like, solid answer. So I don't, in a situation.
I think long-term, like so you asked, you know, why would you want to build a team? For me, it's leverage as well, you know, like for my time, but have a showing assistant, that does help me have more time. But I'm thinking like long-term, like how am I going to exit from real estate and be, you know, that's what I'm thinking is long-term. And so, and I love helping, I genuinely love helping people and seeing them succeed, but I can't give away my livelihood, you know, and be broke in the process. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm just wondering how you can scale something. I know you have to, you know, to potentially get out of production without losing your ass. Like, how do you do that?
So if I were you, I might start with one buyer's agent and have the agreement that you'll give that agent all of your deals less than X, whatever that kind of low threshold is for price point. Build it up, make sure that you guys can then increase your volume. If you're increasing your volume or you're increasing your number of transactions, then everything starts to make sense. But if you're bringing on agents and you're not doing more,
Mhm.
then it's a no-win. But if you can leverage that individual to then do more units, then it becomes pretty simple. Like, hey, I went from 50 units this year to 70. So I did an extra 20 units with this one agent. If I bring on a second agent, can I go from 70 to 90? Can I go from 70 to 100? But everything,
and it's not, just so the other people can hear this too, because I didn't hear this right the first time I tried to, the first bout of team that I had, it's not just increasing the agent or increasing the count of leads or increasing the count of transactions. If you're also giving away those original 50,
right.
It's having your 50 and increasing it 20. It's not giving away your all 70
right.
yet. Right.
Yes.
Because the math doesn't work.
Right. But then if you can get to 200 and give away all of them and take 50%, you're now like you doing 100, right? So it's all about scale, and it's all about leveraging your way. Everything has to be about the growth. Either two things, I would say, either about the growth of the business or getting more time back in your life. And what are you comfortable paying to get more time back in your life? And that's a big piece of it. It really is. Like, does it make your life better that you don't have to work weekends? Maybe that person works weekends for you. But as you scale up, it has to be about building the velocity or building the volume of business where you're not going to take a hit as you start to build that up.
Yeah, that's good. I'll get to Catherine's question in just a second, but just on a relation, a big mistake I made was building a team without having the correct admins in place. And then just, I was busy doing everything that the admin should do. So maybe if you're starting, having a team of admins around you, taking all that extra work off of you is going to make it easier to scale, because then you can focus on lead generating, which is what you're going to need whenever you add the team. So
and I think that's one of the things I started with, right? If you don't have an admin, you are one.
Yeah.
I mean,
the highest paid admin.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, if one of my agents spent, even an hour a day doing paperwork, I mean, that's 5 hours a week that they should be in front of clients.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Catherine asked about the mentorship program. How does that work?
So when you join the team, we have standards, we have accountability, we have everything that we do as a team. So especially since I'm remote, and 6 hour time difference, you're assigned a mentor on the team. That mentor has to be approved by me, and they have to have certain, they need to meet certain standards and production standards and statistics and all kinds of stuff, right? So if you're a new agent on the team, you're assigned a mentor. That mentor is your go-to. So for your first 5 transactions and your first 3 listings, that mentor gets 10% of your commission, but they are the ones that you ask all the questions of. They are the ones who you shadow on showings. They are the ones who will sit in a listing appointment with you. They are the ones who day to day, that's the person you're going to be talking to the most. What are expectations in Boomtown? What are the best practices in Boomtown? Scripts and dialogue and role play. And like I said, the shadowing and coming to the office and meeting and talking. But we assign you that person because what you go through in real estate school is bullshit. It is only the state's way to make sure that they are not responsible for something if you screw up. They don't teach you anything real world. So that mentor is designed to teach you real world. Like, what happens at a showing? What happens when you stick your Centralock card in, if they still do that, and the lockbox doesn't work? Like, what happens when your client is 45 minutes late and you have, all these showings lined up? What happens when your contract starts to go sideways and you have an appraisal issue? Like, I need a person on the ground in real time that they can talk to and dig deep into the contracts and dig deep into everything that person does on a day-to-day basis. And then once they graduate from the mentorship program, they do their thing. But if it's a more seasoned agent who has done this before, we still assign them a mentor. But then it's up to me and the mentor and my 2 directors and that agent to decide when they graduate from the mentorship program, and I have final say on that. But I mean, like anything else in the team, I rely on the people that I surround myself with to tell me if they're ready or not. I'll just be the bad guy or the good guy, which is totally fine. I don't mind being the bad guy. So that's how the mentorship program works. And it's something, believe it or not, even though you're giving away a portion of your commission to be a mentee, it is one of the biggest things that we have on the team that people crave. is the mentorship and the culture and the camaraderie, and having a group of people and or a mentor to ask questions of all the time. It's magic. And I think that's one of the things that's really going to help us grow, is having that mentorship. And that me and the mentor and my two directors have a every 30-day check-in during the mentorship period, to decide if the person is on the right track. And if they're not, I'm pretty quick to correct that behavior and or let the person go, or eventually move them down into different tiers. We're actually launching 3 different tiers within the team. Kind of 3 different tiers of agents on the team based on a variety of factors. They'll qualify for one of the tiers, and then how many leads do you get? Do you get leads? You know, do you get certain priced leads? They're gonna fall into tiers and categories. Because I don't. What we've come to realize too is that there are people that are probably going to be pretty good at this business. There are people who are the right cultural fit, but they are not people who out of the gate I can afford to take Zillow Flex leads, because I have to have them convert, and I have to have them convert right away. So we've kind of created the second tier of people that we bring in who are the right people, but they're not the right agent yet. So we kind of use that as a nurturing or kind of a minor lead to get them up to what we're considering a sales partner.
That's good. The right people, but not the right agent yet.
Yep.
Wow. That's good. Well, we are right at the 11 o'clock. So thanks everybody for joining us this week. Chris, is there how can people find you? Where can they go to follow you? Are you active on any social medias? We didn't talk marketing at all. So Bob and Katie can keep their marketing mastermind pure on Mondays, but where can people find you?
I try my best to stay hidden. But Instagram is at Speicher. I'll actually put it in.
Okay, cool.
Don't, and I all of you are great, but oh, sorry, that was somebody's direct message. Don't ever call me, because I never pick up my phone. My phone is actually set to avoid any calls I don't know, and it's always on silent.
Speaking of these agents that don't answer their phone,
unless it's my team or my family or my daughter who is on an aircraft carrier somewhere in the South Pacific. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, she's a lieutenant in the Navy on an aircraft carrier. But
Wow.
Text and email are great. So at Speicher Group would be the Instagram, and I monitor that. I don't post on it, but I monitor that. Or it's Chris at Speicher Group. And I'll put in my phone number. I'm happy to put in my phone number if you text. Just tell me who the heck you are, so I don't.
Careful.
I'm happy to help. I'm happy to give back. Like I said, we're extremely transparent. I don't pull any punches. I'm not going to hide anything. I'm happy to help, especially to get back to this community, because I'm a firm believer that this is, it's important to help give back to everybody. And Sharon would kick my ass if I didn't. So
that's why you're here.
Exactly.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It's been an eye-opening conversation for me. So thanks everybody for letting me ask all the questions I wanted to. I'll probably hit you up. There's some competing strategies on the mentorship and stuff, and I would love to get your thoughts sometime on pod leaders, because there's a pod leader thing out there too. Are you going to Tom Ferry's event?
I am not going to Tom Ferry's event. My wife will be at the Tom Ferry event, but I will be at the San Diego event.
At Rise? Okay. I'll see you there. I'll buy you a drink and we can talk pods.
That's what awesome.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you next week.
All right. Aloha.
Been heard of, and how much did you pay for your rock and roll t-shirt that proves you were there, that you heard of them first? Now how do you afford your rock and roll lifestyle? How do you afford your rock and roll lifestyle?
That's good, Ray.
How do you afford your rock and roll lifestyle?
Thanks for next week.
Who's up?
I'm still catch can right now, but
Okay. I'll find them. I'll find somebody. See you later.